It is Tuesday, April 5th in the NBA, and I'm back with my 3 best picks of the day. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. We had yesterday off in the NBA, but on Sunday, a recap, we were 2-1. Our only loss of the day, Giannis Antetokounmpo over 30.5 points, but Van Vliet and the man Damian Jones get clutch up for us. A solid, profitable day, moving us to 18-6 over our last 24 plays. A pretty good run we're going on. Now, we have 12 games on today in the NBA, so here are my best picks. We only got a couple more days left in the NBA regular season. Obviously, these videos are not going to stop, though, as the playoffs begin. So if you are new, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss on any of those. We were closing in on 30,000 subscribers. I think we're only 200 away. So if you want to go help us out, hit that goal, hit that subscribe button down below. We definitely would appreciate it. All the OGs out there, click that like button too. It helps support us. Now, we love our daily best bets video starting up in the MLB on Thursday, so get ready for that. Shout out again to our COS All-Stars. That's our YouTube membership. We really appreciate all the people supporting us over there. If it only costs $2.99 a month, you get a couple cool extra perks like getting the plays an hour early, or even sometimes maybe even a little bit earlier than that when the MLB starts up in a couple days. You get a bunch of other cool extra perks. Our newest All-Stars, 1221, Michael, Marcus, Ryan, TCS, Trey, Oscar, Max, and Kenny. We appreciate all you guys for supporting the channel. We really can't do it without you guys. If you want to become an All-Star, get shouted out in tomorrow's video, click the join button on the channel, or click the link in the description, or even click the link in the pinned comment. I'll put it there too. We really would appreciate it. Also, a reminder, we are sponsored by PrizePicks, an awesome app for doing player prop parlays. And today's Taco Tuesday, so maybe you like Kevin Durant's over 30.5 points. Sometimes PrizePicks will lower those lines on a certain Tuesday. Taco Tuesday it is. And they might throw it down to 25.5 for you to throw into a parlay. It's a really cool app. And the best part, we are sponsored by them, and if you use code COS or the link in the description, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So basically, you use the code COS or the link in the description, you get a free $100 when you deposit $100 just to throw onto parlays and have some fun with it. We really appreciate PrizePicks for sponsoring us. And as my final note, so definitely check that out. More details in the description. Final note that you can now download all our daily videos onto podcast platforms. So maybe you're on the go in the car, you can listen on Apple, Spotify, a bunch of cool other things. That link, the link tree for all those things, is at the top of the description. Definitely go check it out as another way to help support us over here at Calling Our Shot. But without further ado, let's hop into it. We got a new shirt of the day for DeJounte Murray, a COS Hall of Famer. Fortunately, he's out today, but we'll talk about him in a second, or that game in a second. Starting with the best of the day, going to the Jazz versus Grizzlies, doing Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points, minus 110 on DraftKings. Now, I'm not here to address the Donovan Mitchell rumors, as he's really, you can look at his body language, doesn't necessarily seem the happiest in Utah, but either way, it would not surprise me if Spida is the next guy, or next star to ask out, or request a trade maybe this offseason. But either way, this is a must-win game for the Utah Jazz, currently sitting at the 6th seed. I believe they're about a game and a half above the Timberwolves, who are in the 7th seed. By no means do they want to get into a play-in tournament. Jazz have not been playing very well as of late. Now, Mitchell still been playing very well, and he should be very aggressive today against the Grizzlies. He's hit this over in 3 straight games, and he's hit this over in 9 of his last 10. Now, Mitchell, over that same time span, averaged 29.5 points per game on 21.8 field goal attempts. He's attempted 20-plus field goal attempts in 8 of those 10 games, and one of the lone miss, he went under 25.5 points. Well, he only attempted 13 field goal attempts, so of course he's probably going to go under that. Now, he's taken on the Memphis Grizzlies in his last 3 against them, scored 18, 35, and 35 points. Obviously hit this in 2 of the 3 games. The one game he went over, scoring 18 points. Well, he shot 5 for 20 from the field. You're not going to hit an over shooting 25% from the field unless you're just absolutely firing up 40-plus shots. Now, look, 20 of the last 25 players with 20-plus field goal attempts have hit this over 25.5 points versus the Grizzlies. So we've seen a lot of stars hit this over when they're getting the field goal attempts up. And they should be without Dillon Brooks, their best perimeter defender today. I believe he's doubtful to play. It says at least unlikely to play, which is good for us. Now, we should see playoff Donovan Mitchell, who's been very good in the playoffs, especially against this Grizzlies team. They matched up actually last year in the playoffs. Scored 25, 29, 30, and 30 points, hitting the over in 3 of those 4 games. I think he'll be active, firing up a lot of threes, and we should see Steven Adams playing some drop coverage, which is never a good sign versus Donovan Mitchell. I think we should see a good game out of him. I'm taking his over 25.5 points as my best bet of the day. Now, let's move on. Let's go to the reigning MVP. Nikolai Jokic, over 50.5 PRAs, minus 115 on Caesars. Honestly, if you want a square play, this is probably as square as it can get. But look, this guy has been as hot as anyone in the NBA. Pause a little bit, but I have no choice but to keep riding with him because Jokic, he's been an absolute monster. I mean, the guy's in clear possession of the MVP race, at least that's what the sportsbooks are saying. And like I said, he's just been absolutely ridiculous his last 5 games. Here's his PRA lines: 60, 62, 65, 59, 56, and 55, hitting the over in all 5 of them, averaging 34.8 points per game, 16.2 rebounds per game, and 8.4 assists per game. Is that bad? No, that's absolutely terrific. For 59.4 PRAs per game, the guy's been absolutely ridiculous, and today gets a great matchup against the San Antonio Spurs. He'll be defended by Jakob Poeltl. Sign me up. That man loves fouling. Now, the Spurs have allowed the 5th most points per game and 4th most rebounds per game to centers this season. And look, Jokic has taken full advantage of Poeltl in these matchups in his last 4 against him. 60, 45, 55, and 53 PRAs, hitting the over in 3 of the 4 games. His lone miss was just by a couple, and the man shot 8 for 19, which if we get 19 field goal attempts from Jokic tonight, I'll be very happy. Now, Poeltl, we all know, loves to foul. That's his specialty. That's his bread and butter. So Jokic could be on the free throw line a good amount. But the Spurs team also should put up a fighter's chance. This is a team that will be without DeJounte Murray, but they still have been fighting and still are trying to get into that play-in game. They are looking like they're going to be the 10 seed, if I were to guess. But still, they've been playing pretty close, and if they can get Jokic to play, I don't know, 35-plus minutes tonight, I think I'll have a really, really good chance of hitting this over. He's been absolutely ridiculous. He's still gunning for that MVP trophy. And look, these are must-win games for the Nuggets, who are also fighting for playoff seeding. So I'll be riding with Nikolai Jokic. I should have worn his shirt that I have, but we're riding with him over 50.5 PRAs. 51.5 is fine. The guy's been ridiculous as he goes for that MVP trophy. So we're counting on him tonight. Let's move on to my final play. Then we'll talk about a couple leans that I also do like. We're going back to Joel Embiid over 46.5 points plus rebounds, minus 122 on FanDuel. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist for me to give you these last 2 plays, Jokic and Embiid. But look, these are 2 guys that they might be square plays, but there's a reason that they're square plays. These are guys that are, one, you look at Embiid, he's gunning for the MVP trophy, and naturally we took his over in points plus rebounds against the Hornets. He didn't play in the 4th quarter. And then naturally the next game he absolutely destroys the line. More on that in a second. But also Embiid can't get the MVP trophy. He can at least lead the league in scoring, and he's currently a couple decimal points off of LeBron James. Now, we're taking on the Pacers today, at least Embiid is, and look, I know the Pacers are 11-point underdogs, but the Pacers have hung around with some teams. And the best thing is that the Sixers are on the road, which is what we want. But still, you look at the Pacers, despite being 11-point dogs, they've kept several games close recently. They lost by 7 to Denver, despite being down 28 after the 1st quarter. They lost by 5 to a very good Boston Celtics team. Lost by 9 to the Hawks. Lost by 4 to the Pistons. Sure, these are all losses, but they're at least close losses. And if they can keep this one close against the Sixers, I think they can do it. And the Sixers have not been good on the road. They've been absolutely terrible. Over the last couple games on the road, they won by 4 over the Cavs, who have been absolutely terrible recently. They lost by 8 to the Pistons, lost by 10 to the Suns. They did beat the Clippers by 25, but then they won by 5 versus the Lakers, won by 2 versus the Magic, and lost by 17 versus the Heat. Those have just been their last 7 games on the road. A team that has not been very good, especially James Harden, not been very good on the road. But look, these last 3 close games on the road, Embiid, 61, 52, and 52 points plus rebounds. Obviously, one of the biggest parts we're here is that the Pacers really don't have a lot of interior size. They got Goga Bitadze, put him on Embiid, and I guarantee he'll foul out in probably about 6 minutes. And then they really just have not. This is a team that's also not going to double team. We normally see that maybe Embiid go under because teams are double teaming him. Pacers aren't going to double team him. They're going to be perfectly happy with losing these games, but I think they'll still put up a puncher's chance, and would not surprise me if we see Embiid maybe dropping like a 40-point game in 3 quarters, maybe going for 50 points. This is the exact matchup he would want to go stat pad, and we just saw him have 44 points and 17 rebounds against the Cavaliers. I'm not surprised to see him have another big game against the Pacers team that cannot stop him inside and will not be double teaming him. We just saw Jokic have 50 points plus rebounds against the Pacers. And we saw also Clint Capella have 37 points plus rebounds in 31 minutes versus the Pacers. Look, if you're a center that is aggressive, you're more than likely going to put up big numbers against the Pacers. And look, I think he's gunning for that MVP trophy, and while he might not be able to get it, we obviously know how much that MVP trophy means to Embiid. So I'm going to keep riding with him. I think he gets a good chance. We're going to trust the process tonight. Take his over 46.5 points plus rebounds. I know his regular points line is like 33.5. His rebounds line, I think, is 12.5, maybe 13.5. They're both super high. I like to combine them. I think that's a good bet. We'll be taking him to go out there and put on a big show against the Indiana Pacers on the road. Now, that's going to wrap it up for my 3 official plays. I'll likely add a play as the day goes on. I just didn't want to make this video too long, but let's talk about a couple leans. I'll start with my spread lean of the day. You guys know I don't like betting spreads, especially not this late into the season, but if I had to pick a spread, gun to my head, I'd pick the Spurs plus the 7 points. Now, I understand that without DeJounte Murray, it's probably a good thing because there's no reason. It's going to be a very square play, I think, in my opinion, to take the Nuggets minus the 7 points. We've seen the Spurs fight pretty hard. It's a team that's going to fight again hard tonight, and this is a team that's trying to win every game that they can as the season goes on. Trey Jones, a very reasonable backup for DeJounte Murray, and he's been holding down the offense, and I think they got a good chance to keep this one close against the Nuggets team that is good, but Nuggets team that doesn't blow out a whole lot of teams. So I like the Spurs plus the 7. If I had to bet a spread, it's just a lean. I'm not going to bet it. Now, a couple player props I do like. Let's go to the biggest game on the slate, though. the Blazers versus the Thunder does not get better than this. Everyone's going to be tuning in. I like Keon Johnson over 13.5 points and Alexis Pokachevsky, or Poka as we call him here, over 6.5 assists. Now, for Keon, while they have been not necessarily playing him a ton of minutes, 25-ish minutes the last couple games, the man's been shooting a ton, 15-plus field goal attempts. And look, if you're going to give me a guy that's going to shoot 15 times and he only needs to average basically a point per shot, I'd probably take it, especially in a good matchup against the Thunder. And on the other side, Poka over 6.5 assists with Trey Mann, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort. I don't know who the heck else is out for this Thunder team. He's been running the point at point center, and the man's had like 11, 8, and 12 assists the last couple games. I think he's got a good chance to keep it going against the Blazers. I think averaging 13.3 potential assists, and I imagine the Blazers probably aren't going to play a whole lot of defense in this one. This will be a very high scoring game in my opinion, and then towards the end of the game I expect it to be just an absolute brick fest as both teams want to lose. But either way, I like both those two guys over. So let's go to two unders. Going to the Kings versus the Pelicans. I like Davion Mitchell under 17.5 points and the man Damian Jones under 23.5 PRAs. And kind of for the same reason. Now, Damian Jones obviously has cashed us out the last two times, so we appreciate him for his service, but Davion Mitchell and Damian Jones, both not great matchups. Obviously, Damian Jones, we'll start with him. He's going to be guarded by Jonas Valanciunas, also Jackson Hayes. Going to be tough for him to score points. He doesn't really shoot any outside jumpers, so all of his points are strictly off of layups or dunks or things right at the rim. I think the Pelicans allow the 8th fewest points in the paint, so it's going to be tough for him to score and grab rebounds. Pelicans are a very good team in terms of allowing not a lot of rebounds to opposing teams, especially opposing big men. And Davion Mitchell really struggled with the shot. I believe 11 and 9 points his last two games. You've seen the field goal attempts absolutely plummet, and he just faced a Warriors team also doesn't allow a lot of points in the paint. It's going to be a tough matchup with those two big guys, 2 7-footers down in the paint. But if he drives, which we know he doesn't necessarily have the best outside shot, if he drives, it's going to be hard for him to score in the rim. Probably going to score in the paint. Probably have to pass it out. So I like both their unders. It is a 10 p.m. tip-off Eastern time, so I'm not sure if I'll necessarily add them because I probably won't stay up to watch the game, but maybe I do as the day goes on. Check the pinned comment section down below for any added plays because we'll likely add 1 or 2. We only got a couple days more left in the NBA. Why not have a couple extra added plays? So definitely check that out. Pinned comment. Also a reminder about that PrizePicks. Use the code COS or the link in the description for a 100% deposit match up to $100. Taco Tuesday promos you don't want to miss out. I have a PrizePicks parlay posted on Twitter at Calling a Shot. Make sure you go follow us. We'll post it later on tonight, and hopefully you guys tell me if you have a PrizePicks account. But either way, this has been Austin. Those are my 3 official plays: Embiid, Jokic, and of course Donovan Mitchell. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.